내려와. 세수.
아, 내가 뭘 시켰었냐고! 보여줘!
일가 한번 찾아뵙겠습니다.
아, 필요 없으니까요. 오지 마세요.
Death Club.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Danny here, and today I'm talking to you about Old Boy. So, I've been doing this manga reviewing for a long time now. Since year one, basically, I've been nonstop reading manga and talking about it on this show. Over the years, I feel like I've gotten better at talking about some of these mangas. And going back to the very beginning of this series, I realized, you know what? The mangas that I read early on, they deserve a lot better for reviews than what I did. And so I decided, okay, every now and then I want to go back and read one that's worth talking about still and give it the justice it deserves for reviews. So that's why today we are here with Old Boy, or Loose Senki Old Boy as the full name for the manga. So let's get right into it, man. This is published in Manga Action Magazine. Same place where we got Shin-chan and a bunch of Lupin mangas. This ran from 96 to 98, written by Marley Karibu and drawn by Shinmei Minagishi. This has 79 chapters with an epilogue at the end. What a time, man. This manga, after rereading this, yeah, it's still really good. It's such a great psychological thriller. Just the roller coaster it takes you on. Really just diving into each of these individual characters of who they are and how they all play this important piece in the story. Our main character, Goto, is your run-of-the-mill salaryman in Japan, goes out to drink, goes out gambling, what have you. And then one day he passes out, wakes up, and he's in a boxed room, very small. All that's there is a TV and a bed. No idea why he's there, and he's being imprisoned for what eventually becomes 10 years of his life. People come in, they give him haircuts and stuff, but he can't see anything. They feed him daily from a specific restaurant, and one day they all come in and say, hey, it's time, drug him, and then he wakes up in the middle of nowhere in Tokyo with a suit and a pocket full of cash. And now his sole mission is to try to find out who was the person that locked him up for 10 years. And yeah, man, like I said, it's just really good. Goto himself is such an interesting character. There was a certain point while he was in prison that he was about to snap and decided, no, if I snap, then that means they win. That's not happening. I want to find out who this is, and I'm going to exact my revenge how I see fit, basically. So he gets his determination and does not lose his composure and trains. And now he's on the hunt to try to find this guy. And during that time, he meets this young random girl from a restaurant called Eri. And immediately they hit it off and they sort of become lovebirds and stuff. She kind of helps him with this journey to find who it is and exactly where he was. And that's just the beginning part. That was really great. It's like, oh, he's this cool badass guy, John Wick type character. He sees a bunch of young thugs and says, oh, let's see if my shadow boxing training over the years really works in combat. Sure enough, it does. So off the bat, you're already getting this idea of exactly what kind of situations he's going to be in. This kind of feels like the mid-90s action movies that you would see out here in the States. And then eventually, he starts getting contacted and getting messages about the person that imprisoned him, nicknamed Dojima. And then it's from that point forward, and it was at that point where the story changes for, I believe, the better. I wouldn't have minded if it kept this like kind of action-y route, but what happens after, I think it's just so much better the way it's written, because eventually Goto does confront Dojima, and the things that happen after that, it's crazy. Like, Goto's so confident and that he could do everything, and then when he realizes this is not that kind of situation, he sort of breaks down. And he realizes how truly powerless he is against a person of this caliber. Yeah, it puts a heavy weight on your mind, and we clearly see that with Goto. But he still perseveres and continues this quote-unquote game Dojima has laid out between the two of them. And that's just the basic run of the story. It goes into so much more detail about stuff because Minagishi just has this great touch with just the expression on everyone's faces, the stylistic choices you get. Like, I really didn't want to put it down while reading it because I just wanted to get more into the mystery again and just see like how these characters react and all like this 4D chess play that's happening. It's just really entertaining. There will be moments where like, okay, we're on this long string for a while. What are we going to do next? Boom, we get introduced to another character that adds more into this game. Their perspective on stuff, how they're involved, what their emotional play is. And it's just really great, man. Like the masterful work Dojima has done for this insanely crazy game for something that happened so long ago. I highly recommend it, man. Man, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was because, you know, the movie, of course, the Korean adaptation is so popular. And then I believe I found out that this was a manga first. And so I decided to read it and just instantly fell in love with it. And after reading this, I decided, you know what? I'm going to give the movie a second chance, which I did. Because when I initially watched it after reading this for the first time all those years ago, I didn't even finish it because I knew the twist already. And just what I was watching, it's so different from this that I just got turned off by it and did not want to finish it. But I gave it a second chance. And while looking up stuff for Oldboy specifically, just in general from the manga to both movies, I found this essay from a college class titled Oldboy, a case study in intercultural adaptation theory. And basically it's just breaking down the three versions of Oldboy: manga, Korean movie, Spike Lee movie. Really just talks about what each movie represents of both the time and the culture of what Oldboy is going to be representing. Yeah, it was a good read so far. I'm definitely going to check out more of this because it is interesting. Like when you break it down like that and see how the movie is handled versus how the manga is handled, I could kind of see why they went the different approach. Also, there's just a lot of different stuff with the Korean adaptation for this. I'm okay with it. It makes sense. It's a different approach, but it's one that I could see easily happen to Goto. So I'll give the movie props, and yeah, it's highly praised, you know, the iconic hallway scene, but at the end of the day, nothing's going to beat the manga, man. So again, I highly recommend you check out Oldboy. And that is pretty much all I have to say today, guys. So, what are your thoughts? Have you read Oldboy? What did you think of the adaptations? Would love to hear your thoughts. You can send an email to unversepodcast@gmail.com, as well as any other questions or comments, and we will absolutely bring those up on future episodes. So, thank you for listening, and as always, I'll catch you next time.